before people can make a big, bold, courageous change in their life, they need to believe that they're capable of changing their life. And most people never find the thing that they should be doing because they didn't try it. Instead of planning to get 100% perfect, you just act on the first 2%.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Career Pivots and Second Acts, the ultimate telesummit for your mid-career transition. I'm your host, Tajan Renderos, and it's my honor to introduce you all to Evan Carmichael. Evan, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for the love. Great to be here.
So today we're going to be briefly chatting about, from Evan's perspective, given how much of an incredible curator he is, what are his top 10 rules for making your next bold career move as a mid-career professional that's transitioning? So Evan, let's dive in.
Great. I don't know if we can go 10 deep, but we'll see. I think at the beginning, it's having belief in yourself. So the famous quote, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. For people who want to, before people can make a big, bold, courageous change in their life, they need to believe that they're capable of changing their life. If you don't,
Right.
and then you'll never do it.
Right.
So how do you do that? How do you create that belief? What I recommend is thinking about what makes you bold and come alive, what makes you feel courageous, and then putting that into your daily routine, especially if you could do it in the morning somehow. So for me, I love studying successful people. I love learning from Elon Musk and Oprah Winfrey and people who've had massive success. And the more I'm around them, the more they carry me forward. The more I believe in myself, the more I want to do more courageous, bold things, which sometimes is a pivot. What is it for people watching? What is it makes you feel bold and courageous? Maybe it's meditation. Maybe it's walking in the sun. Maybe it's playing music. Maybe it's dancing. Whatever it is, maybe you need to shave your eyebrows. Whatever, I don't care. Whatever the thing is that makes you feel bold, do that in the morning to start your day. Because if you started your day doing something, if you felt bold and courageous every day, holy cow, your life 1 year from today would look dramatically different than where you are right now. And so cultivating that belief that you are capable of doing bold, courageous, audacious things, and you cultivate that belief by surrounding yourself with it, I think is your good first step to being able to actually go take those bold decisions in your life.
And by courageous, Evan, if you can clarify for people exactly what you mean as when you say the word courageous. What does that mean for you?
So I think everybody has Michael Jordan level talent at something. Everybody has Oprah Winfrey level talent at something.
Yeah.
We just, one, don't know what it is because we haven't found it, or two, don't believe in ourselves enough to chase it down. But to go off and chase it down, to become the next Oprah, the next Michael Jordan, the next whoever, to go and be great requires courage, because you're going to have to do things that you are afraid of. You're going to have to do things that are not normal for you, that you didn't grow up with.
Right.
And so that means you're going to be scared. There's going to be fear. And so having the courageousness to break through the fear is essential to you getting to where you want to go.
Right.
We're not meant to just photocopy your life over and over and over again.
Right.
We weren't. If you don't have anything that scares you in your calendar coming up, then you don't like your life.
Right.
You need to have things that scare you. Otherwise, if nothing scares you at all in your calendar, then you're just doing the same stuff you've been doing over and over and over again. That means there's zero growth happening in your life, because growth is amazing, but it's scary to grow. It's scary to try something new.
Right.
And so the more you grow, the more scary it's going to be. The bigger thing you want to do, the equal side of fear is going to be on the other side, that you have to come through it. And so what allows you to have the courage? It's being around people who are also courageous, right? It's hanging out. It could be physical people like that you're seeing face to face, or what I call aspirational mentors that I try to do with my YouTube channel on a daily basis, where if you ever need to believe in yourself more, I try to have content that you can learn from. Just look at these people who are doing amazing things. My goal is not for you to feel like they are amazing people, which they are. My goal is for you to feel I'm just as amazing as they are.
Right.
That I can do similar things. You might not want to host a talk show or be a singer or, play basketball, but you're great at something. And I want you to own that and go all in on it and believe in yourself because you are a star. And so being around that gives you the courage to do the thing that you're afraid of. That thing is different for all of us.
Yeah.
For me, it was just getting in front of the camera. That was super scary when I first started doing it. I'm introverted, I'm shy, doesn't come across, when I do these now, because I've done it for so many years, but
Right.
just getting in front of the camera was courageous for me. I used to have my sister come in, focus the camera, press record, and then leave the room and close the door and walk away far so she couldn't hear me because
Right.
I was too nervous. Well, it's my sister, right? It's love. It's not some random person I hired off the street or something, right? It's my sister,
Right.
but I still couldn't make a video. So for me, that was courageous.
Right.
For someone else, what are you talking about? That's easy being in front of the camera. But for them, they're afraid of something else. We all have our own fears and insecurities. But
Right.
your great life is on the other side of your fears and insecurities.
Absolutely. And Evan, you mentioned that you believe everybody has some Michael Jordan strength and ability.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, as a career coach, I know that statement would stop many people in their tracks. Like many people just don't believe that about themselves, unfortunately, even though it's true.
Mm-hmm.
From your experience, from your expertise, doing this work for so many years, and curating as you have been, what's the best way for people to discover that Michael Jordan strength, that Michael Jordan ability that's sitting there dormant?
So I'll answer it, but I think the problem isn't the discovery. The problem is the belief. Just like you said, they don't believe they have it. So you could sit there and help them find it, but they don't believe in it.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. What's most of my content. It's just around belief. I want to cultivate the belief that maybe I can't. Just give me a little inch, like a little bit, a little crack to say maybe I could. That's all we need, right? So you can dive in and create that wedge to open up a brand new world for you. I think most people are still stuck in that spot where they don't believe in themselves enough. If now we've crossed that giant chasm and they believe they have great talent, but they don't know what it is, then it's exploring. You explore, you taste, you try. You can't think your way through this. This is a matter of the heart. You don't wrap your head around it. You wrap your heart around it.
Yeah.
You can't think your way through it. You need to experience it.
Yeah.
So how do you know if you like sushi? You got to try it. You can't think your way through liking sushi.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go and do it. And I think most people just photocopy their lives over and over again. They don't get enough exposure to new things, to taste, to test, to try. And so you don't find the thing. Most people never find the thing that they should be doing because they didn't try it. Now, it's trying with having zero expectations and expecting to suck at the beginning. Most people want to be great the first time out, and we were perfectionists. So we want to try something and crush it. You're not going to crush it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you make a video and you crush it, you should have started making videos 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to suck at the beginning because it's the beginning.
Right.
And so just like if you're going on a date with somebody, the acid test should not be, am I going to marry this person? You're setting yourself up for failure. It's, do I want to go on a second date with this person? Do I want to go back? Was it a good time or not? Do we have something in common? Is it worth hanging out more? That's the same thing for, at least in my view, for approaching your career is you want to try stuff and see how it sits. My first YouTube videos were really bad. It took me 350 videos until I wasn't completely embarrassed by my own content. Like I couldn't watch it back, just embarrassed. 350 videos, but I liked it. I liked it. I liked the process. I liked making videos. I wanted to get better at it. And if you like something, you have a passion for it, you'll get good at it with enough effort.
Yeah.
I had no natural abilities. I wasn't raised in front of the camera. I was shy and introverted and don't want to be famous and had all sorts of issues to work through, but I just enjoyed it. And so I had to find a way to keep going and ultimately turn it into a business with teams and impacting, 250 million people have seen my YouTube videos. It's wild. But how do you know? I couldn't think my way through it. I invested in and now own a salsa dancing studio in Toronto. You know how to salsa dance. It's the largest in Canada, maybe North America. I will teach 5,000-6,000 people a year how to dance. On paper, it makes no sense. I mean, I'm tall. I'm over 6 feet. I take bigger steps. I don't speak Spanish. I didn't grow up with any dancing, let alone salsa dancing. So many reasons why this is a stupid idea. But I went to a salsa club and I just liked it. So I have to go back and do it again. And if you like it enough, you can develop the skill. You don't have to have the natural talent for it. You can develop the skill and beat people who have natural talent for it, but aren't working their skills. So I think people need to just explore more, try more, taste more. Look at the events that are happening in your city this weekend, and just what looks interesting, and go, and just try and ask questions and see how it feels. It's messy. It's the thing. It's messy at the beginning. You don't know what you're doing. You feel like you should have the answers and know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing. It's supposed to be messy at the beginning.
This is true. And
Yes.
Evan, you talked about, not being able to think your way through it, but being able to feel your way through it. And, we've been raised in a Western culture where feeling your way through anything has been beaten out of us by the time if you're in high school, if you go to college, the whole concept of I'm going to feel my way through something in many ways has been largely stamped out of us. And so I think it's really hard for folks to do that without then countering feeling with either A, not feeling at all, or not even being present enough to recognize that, or B, stamping it out immediately with the current rules of thumb or current thinking or what my parents said or what my spouse is saying or what have you. And so given that context that we've been raised in, we've been ingrained in, how do you really surmount that from your experience?
You asked the question, are the people who are stomping this out of me have the life that I want? If it's your parents, or if it's your spouse, or if it's your friends, or the people who are telling you this, that this is the way life is supposed to be, do they have the life that you want?
Right.
If they do, then maybe you should listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't, then adopting their mindset and belief system is not going to serve you.
Right.
You need to adopt new mindsets. Okay, great, we get that. This is what your wife and your husband and your family, whatever they're saying. What do you want to do? Who has the life that you want? Okay, I mean, on my wall, I've got Steve Jobs behind me and Kanye, my parents, and so I'll look at them. So say this, pick Steve Jobs. Okay, great. What does Steve Jobs then believe? And then you go and research his story and say, oh, he believes things that are different than what these people are telling me to do. Okay. Let me find somebody else. Maybe Steve Jobs is just a weirdo. Okay, let's go study. Right, it's why I have so many different people on my channel. There's everybody. People who've had success. There's a new person every day. You can go learn from them. What do they think? And then you'll notice there's a big difference between people who've had success and the people who are stomping out these ideas in you who want you to stay where you are. And so when you realize that gap, that's the thing. It's just give me an inch. Give me this little crack in the armor and we'll blow it up. Just give me just a little hope. There's a little possibility that they may be wrong, that there might be hope. And then we'll blow that up and build you a new life. On the part that it's hard, one thing I love catching in language, if the reason is it's hard, is great. You do hard things. You're a person who does hard things.
Yeah.
You don't want to just be on easy street your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Easy is boring. You do hard things. It's hard, great. Hard is not a reason not to do something. So it's fear. I'm afraid. Okay, great. Being afraid is not a good enough reason not to do something.
Right.
And those are usually the two. It's hard or I'm afraid. Those aren't good enough reasons, not for you,
Right.
because you got Michael Jordan level talent.
And what's the feeling that you're chasing to let you know that you're on the right track? I mean, many people have different theories around that, but what's the feeling for you that makes you know like it's A and not B?
When I'm helping somebody else?
When in terms of making a big pivot that has significant ramifications one way or the other.
I think if you have to make a big pivot, it's because you have not been paying attention to your life.
That's true.
I don't like making big pivots.
That's true.
I try to pay attention to, so I look at my calendar as the essence of my life. Like what's in my calendar gets done. So my family time, my wife time, everything, we put it in the calendar, and I look at my calendar and say, if I did this, would I have a balanced life for me? If I ever feel like I'm wasting time on something, or I'd like to do something else, then it has to find a way into my calendar. And so you will always grow. Like no matter how great we are now, my calendar now, your goals now, what you think is a balanced life right now, it will change. It will change in 5 years. It will change. There'll be other life circumstances. You'll want to learn other things. And so the question is, do you change alongside? Does your habits and schedule change alongside you, who's evolved as a human? And so I think it's much better for people to make micro pivots constantly, tasting, trying, testing. You're interested in meditation for some reason? Great, go try meditation this weekend, or try it tonight. Just try on the hat and have no expectations and see what happens. Most people don't think that way though. So most people, they'll only make a change because you're growing like this, as people like we're just starp, or what am I trying to say? Steep and sharp becomes starp. Steep curve up, right? And your habits stay flat. You need to match it. And so most people only are willing to make a change when it's so painful to them, because there's been such a chasm created, because they've grown to be such a different person compared to what their habits and actions are right now. It's so painful that they need to act.
Yes.
And so then they need to make a massive pivot. Like, you have just grown so much over the past 10 years. What was a great opportunity for you, realize that this sucks for you now. Like, you hate your life. So you have to change. I don't think that's actually a healthy way of living. I think it's better to pay attention to what's happening in your life and make micro changes along the way, so that you don't hate your life for 10 years before you make the change. That being said, for somebody who does hate their life, yes, big pivot. Let's go. You're ready. You do big things, right? And making people don't tell that. Like, who tells the people in their family that you do big things? You've got Michael Jordan level talent. You're capable of doing something amazing. Like, when do we say that to each other? It's not happening in most families, right? And so I think that's the role. I mean, for future generations of parents, it's what I think about when I'm talking to my son. But if we're trying to coach other people, if I look at people who I help one-on-one, or the people that you're coaching when they come in to talk to you, they have to believe that they're capable of making a big pivot before you can suggest what big pivot to go off and make. And you might be the only person in their life telling them that I think you can do great things.
Right.
And just that little seed can explode into something amazing.
Absolutely, Evan. Fortunately, I was raised by a mom who definitely said, like, you're amazing. You're going to do great things. Like, you're a star girl. She used to say, you're a star girl. Like, and constantly. And when you're young, you believe that. I believe that hook, line, and sinker. And so once I started engaging with anybody who thought anything less than that, it didn't even compute. It was like 1 + 1 = 5, like that. Like, the math wasn't even right to me. Like, it didn't even sit anywhere in my spirit or in my mind for long, because I was raised with that, which definitely, as a woman of color in the US, has been extremely helpful, because you're entirely faced with folks who just expect less from you constantly. And so the importance of that, like, if you're a parent out there, take what Evan is saying to heart. You know what you're doing for your kids in terms of helping them to believe in themselves. at a very young age, as soon as you can talk to them, cannot be overemphasized. Right? I mean, from your perspective as a parent, would you?
Yeah. I think the tendency though now, when people watching or listening, is, well, it's easy for you to say you had great parents. Like, you had great parents, I had great parents. What about me? I didn't have great parents. Okay, great. Like, I have in my first book, I profiled 2 different NBA basketball all-stars. So all-stars, like the best of the best. And one of them said, I'm here because of my dad, because I learned everything from my dad. He taught me how to be human, and I'm just paying tribute to him. Everything I am is because of him. And then another guy, also NBA all-star, said, I'm here because of my dad. He was the worst human ever, and I never want to be anything like him.
Yeah.
And he taught me what not to do, right? So it's like, even if you, so we both had great parents. It's probably not the norm.
Yeah.
If you didn't have great parents, amazing. Lots of people have won in the same way. Now, if they were bad parents growing up, when you're 5 years old, you don't have a choice. Like, you got no choice. But at some point, you have to say, I'm taking control of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's 16 or 18 or 35 or 65. Like, at what point are you going to say, I'm an adult. I get to decide what I want. I can eliminate negativity and bring in positivity. I can change my surroundings. I can be around successful people, if only through YouTube videos or books.
Yeah.
And I can learn from them and change my life. Once you just make that decision, your entire life changes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you've certainly given folks more than 10 rules around what's really important in terms of making your next bold career move. Is there anything else that you would want to leave people with that you haven't said already, that you know is just so crucial, that if people would just get that, they would?
Yeah, I would say I have a expression called the 2% difference, which means most people, when they come up with a new idea, they default to planning, to thinking, to strategizing. I think that's actually the wrong first step. When you're feeling bold, when you have this moment, we're not feeling bold all day long. That'd be amazing, but we don't. We have this moment of boldness. We have this little tiny moment where you feel like, maybe I could go do something bigger than what I'm doing right now. That little tiny moment. Don't waste that time researching, because you're going to wake up tomorrow a different person. You're going to wake up tomorrow back to who you were before. That moment, instead of planning on how to get to 100%, you take action on the first 2%. So if your goal is to work out more, don't research what the perfect workout plan is. Just go work out. Just like, do something today. Do 5 push-ups.
Yeah.
That's already way more progress than probably you've made in the past 5 years. Right? Great. And then celebrate it. The 2% difference. You get an idea, trusted idea comes from somewhere, and then go do something about it. Instead of sitting on it. Because we all have this list of ideas that we're sitting on. You got to take immediate action. Train yourself. As soon as you get an idea, you take action. You don't worry about judging if it's great or not. You expect to fail at everything at the start. You're paying attention if you love it or not, and you take the 2% difference. Instead of planning to get 100% perfect, you just act on the first 2%. Because if you don't act when you're feeling bold, then you've wasted your boldness. And you'll fall back to your ordinary life. So take the 2% difference.
Absolutely. Well, we can all absorb that, take the 2% difference. That's one point in life or another, right? So thank you so much for dropping gems on people today. I think everything that you're saying is resonating. I mean, even if folks understand this to be true, getting a reminder in the piercing way in which you deliver it, Evan, is extremely helpful for folks. So just thank you so much, Evan, and to you all. Take action right away, right? Inspiration without action is dead. So go ahead, get out there, take Evan's advice, and make it happen. Thank you all.
Thank you for the love.
If you want another awesome video in our Black Excellence series, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.